Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here, and today we continue with the new series of interviews with the Golden Eagle, Tom Platz. In this fourth section of our interviews, Tom Platz describes his first steroid cycle, as well as how he trained for 10 years as a natural before his first steroid cycle, with the thought of achieving the freakiest legs in bodybuilding history. Enjoy.
Well, we've been talking for an hour. I just don't want to. I don't know how long you want to talk. So I've got 1,000 questions.
Okay, I'm gonna direct me. Sort of interrupt me if I'm getting off.
No problem. No problem. Okay. You've really gone through a great introduction now. We found out about your positive attitude, mental attitude, living with passion. I want to go back now to I guess you've talked about your introduction into California and all that, and I want to start now asking more towards your training. And before I go into that, I do want to ask about your early steroid use, not into too great specific detail, because I want to talk about that particular topic a little bit later on. The reason I want to ask you these particular questions is because I'm a natural bodybuilder. I'm just a recreational lifter. With a lot of passion like yourself and on old school bodybuilding. And to me, I think a lot of people are interested in finding out when a lot of you guys in the golden era, because you came into the scene when steroids were just coming in, right? And a lot of you guys depended on building a strong foundation first before experimenting, because back then you were only just experimenting with it. You guys were the pioneers, so to speak, and kind of that point, that bridge where we went from the 50s and 60s of seeing bodybuilders that hadn't used this stuff before to you guys being the first. So my first question towards that topic is, how strong were you, for example, in these lifts before you actually started using steroids?
There's a natural rhythm to the body without steroids.
Yeah.
Certain times of the month as a teenager, I was stronger, and certain times of the month I wasn't. But I got very strong, and I was squatting 6 plates before I even took a drug. Okay, I mean, I was, oh yeah. I mean, that was I was just in early college years. I'm like, it happened to me, and I realized that the squat was more than just a squat. It was a religious experience, but yet my whole body stemmed from that. I got to tell you though, it's on my mind, and nobody believes me. They're not going to believe me when they hear this. 20 milligrams of Winstrol a day, the old pills, the little pink pills. Okay, 20 milligrams a day, and one shot of Deca a week, 100 milligrams, was my life's drug cycle. That's it. That's all I ever did. Never took testosterone. Never took any of these designer drugs. I took the very minimal with the girls, less than the girls would take, but it worked for me. It really worked for me. It gave me longevity, a livelihood, and to this day. So I think the high dosage of drugs can really lead to problems, as we're seeing it is. Okay,
absolutely.
So I'm not really. I'm just trying to be authentic and real. And drugs was like waxing the car. I remember I went to the Terry Wogan show in England one time. I said, you can't. Drugs aren't going to make a Volkswagen into a Ferrari, But it's like taking your car to a car show. The drugs give you the wax job. And you've got to be the guy. You've got to be the monster. You've got to be the bodybuilder, the muscle guy, muscle girl first before you start depending upon pills to do it for you. Okay. And again, there's so much sarcoplasm assessment and attainment through high androgens, which is another. Now, because I never believed in androgenic material, we would always go towards anabolic-based compounds. But now, with the introduction of high androgens, testosterone was out of the question for me. It's just I get fat and pimples. I don't want to bloat, But I see what some of the guys do now with the androgens and how they affect sarcoplasm, fluid substance, which is around the muscle, as you know. And it's like, it's not really cellular muscle gains. It's more water being distributed.
Right?
Yeah. And so I've come to respect and understand the modern day. I think we're in a pharmacological quagmire. Okay.
Sorry, you're absolutely right. Just speak the truth.
Talk to the guys that are doing it. I watch the guys. I was separated from, but now I'm actually going, okay, let me see, what's the reality of the scene? I'm spending time on the field, in the trenches too, going, oh, I see why that works, what you're doing. Sounds crazy, but so it's a different world. And just a little sidetrack. For me, when I first got in bodybuilding, when I was a 9-year-old, if I thought I had to stay in my apartment and take tons of drugs and eat every 2 hours, I'd be like, no girls, no one. I'd be like, bodybuilding to me was about the girls, the beach, about bodybuilding and training in the tank tops and stuff, and abundance and prosperity and living the dream.
Yeah.
Okay? Now it's like I'm a hermit. I live by myself in a dark apartment and take a shitload of drugs, and I hope I win.
Yeah.
Why would any young man or woman want to go into that sport?
Yeah.
I'm painting a dark picture. There's some good things that happen nowadays. There is. Some of the young guys, yes, okay, but maybe I'm like my grandfather. Oh, when I was young, we didn't have shoes, but I went to school anyhow. I'm like,
I get what you're saying.
I realize that too. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hope I'm staying.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Nobody believes when I tell them that. I mean, I remember taking a shot of Deca going, what's going to happen to me? Deca Duralton, I don't know. We were scared to death. Now I'm like, holy smokes, you take that much? How many grams? I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's really, more art, less science.
Absolutely.
Okay? The science experiments we're all in great admiration of.
More art, less steroids, I'd say.
I remember going on stage, and I was always instructed, and Arnold taught me, just stand there. Just stand there. Don't do anything. Then crack a smile. And then take the audience with you.
Yeah.
Entertain them. And I'm like, nowadays, everybody's like asking for applause from the audience.
I know.
Like, how embarrassing is that?
Exactly.
It's like being a waiter or a waitress in a restaurant going, can I have a tip, please?
Yeah. Where's the dignity?
People want to, yes, they're lost. It's about, people standing on their seats and yelling and screaming. When I saw Linda Murray at the Miss Olympia, I'm like, wow, this girl was unbelievable. It was compelled to do that. It wasn't about, now it's like, okay, honey, Mr. Olympia, the freakiest, biggest guys in the world. Let's go to dinner now.
Yeah.
In my day, people would linger and, come on, we can't leave you. They would just, we didn't have, they would follow you back to the hotel and have private security and went to the lobby of the hotel, microphones and like fucking crazy. It was chaotic and nuts. I'm like, that is bodybuilding. Okay?
Yeah.
Not this.
100%.
Well,
100%. 100%.
So there's much more to bodybuilding than I think people see it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of life it gave me. So I've lived the life of Mr. Olympia for the last 57 years.
Wow.
The Olympia title was very respectful of that. Don't get me wrong. But after a while, I go, I don't have to be Mr. Olympia to do what I want to do, And if you think you do, you do. But the Olympia doesn't give you that life. You have to know how to develop it and take it. So when I work with a young guy that wins Mr. Olympia, I'm like, now it just starts. When I first met Sean Roden, God bless him, man. It's a shame. Mm-hmm. But I would say now it's just starting for you after this first Olympic win. I'm like, now you're just starting. You're like a novice pro, okay? I didn't mean this in a derogatory way. I'm like, now you got to figure out how to do it all. Yeah. How do you stay in the business for years and years and years and years and make it a lifelong dream, not just win the show one night and that's it, which people seem to do. They have a short-lived career nowadays. And with all due respect to the industry we love, okay? But I think I'm sort of I like to say what I think. When you get older, you say what you think more. You don't notice that? All the old guys, oh, let me tell you something.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, you've talked about your cycle, how strong you were. I mean, 600 pounds, fantastic. How heavy did you get? I mean, I know that you've talked about getting to about 230 for some of the around the 80s Olympias. That's the mass. You tell your mind, I'm going to get to that, and then cut down. But before you actually got on steroids, you were obviously very strong. But how heavy could you get, without their use as a natural before you started using?
220s and 230s before I even talked
Still,
about taking drugs. And I was about 19 and a half, I think, when I took drugs first time. Everybody said, just don't wait, just train. And I mean, heart, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. No.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying you basically waited 10 years of solid training.
Yeah.
That's
like nowadays, these guys are all trying to break my squat record, which was never a record, really. I just did it for fun. Okay. But I'm like, you just can't be a powerlifter doing 3s and 5 reps and train for 6 weeks and develop endurance. It took me 10 years as a powerlifter, as a 3 to 5 rep guy. It took me 10 years to build the endurance, to change my energy system. Okay, and as a mesomorph, I sort of pushed myself into my acting more like an ectomorph in terms of the way that my muscle fibers responded. It took. It doesn't happen overnight, man. 10 years is like, okay, that's like a doctor. It takes you a good 10 years to get into the business. Now the business starts, Okay.
You just said something really important there. I'm just turning this camera off at the top. Just a second. Equally as a natural, when I was in my mid-20s, I used high rep squatting, known as the 20 rep squat, to build mass. I was a 65 kilo, almost 5'10", 65 kilos, very thin. And over the space of 3 years, I went, using the squat alone, from 65 to 95 kilos. Just doing high rep squatting twice a week with some basic foundation exercises. And I was, in my teenage years doing that. So I guess that's where I'm going to. Like, is that what you kind of did? Did you use high rep squatting as well as powerlifting to build your mass during these natural years?
And then during the natural early years, I would do one heavy squat workout, 3 to 5s or 6 to 8 reps, and then one 15 to 20 reps day.
Yeah.
So you're training both fiber types.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what guys don't get. They think being strong and lifting big weights is the answer. Technique is the most important answer. Technique, the way the Olympic lifters, the weightlifters taught me, technique was paramount. If you don't have good technique, leave. So I was taught with that. But I think doing both for all body parts is really what worked for me. The technique was most important. The reps are probably most important. In second place, the reps were important over the heavy weights. Because a lot of the young guys I competed with could do 1,000 pounds. They had skinny, tiny legs. I mean, it sort of threw me. I'm like, Fred Hatfield, a very good friend of mine, and one of my teachers, and one of my co-workers over the years. Fred Hatfield squatted 1,000, 1,000-pound squat. He had little tiny legs. Like, we did a little photo session one time. I'm like hitting my legs for the photographer, and Fred's like next to me, like, it was like they were trying to understand that. And so I realized that heavy weights wasn't always the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It isn't, and it's not our goal. I could train with some stupid heavy weights, but I think I could have did 1,000 if I would have focused on it. But so what? So I did 1,000. I mean, with all respect to powerlifters,
Yeah.
I wanted to have the freakiest, and I got great response to super hard work, super high reps, and it was scared me to death every workout. I'm like, there was no cameras, there was nobody with a cell phone back then. It was like just going to the gym by yourself with 3 guys going, yeah, I'm gonna kill it, man. And I'm gonna lay on the floor for 10 minutes going, let's do one more.
Yeah.
Days it's like this. I would lay on the floor going, am I gonna come back? God, okay, come back. Okay, and it was risky. It's like a race car driver. I mean, it's risky doing, driving their laps and stuff and quick turns. But you got to take some risk always in life. And sometimes, risk. If there's more risk than a success understanding, if there's, if there's an expectation of success, if there's more risk than an expectation of success, don't do it. Okay, and I see guys putting on 800 pounds and trying to squat and blowing their intestines out. I'm like, what the hell is that? I mean, you know, you have realistic goals. I mean, but by the way, I did go as high as 245, during the 80s,
Okay.
which is way too big for me, way too big. I would guest pose and there's a thing online of me guest posing in Paris at 235. Looked like modern day bodybuilder. Okay, like, you know, it's all the young guys that I work with now. They're like, yeah, you look great back then, man. How big? Big, 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 big. And I'm like, I wouldn't have won the Olympia though. It being 240, 235. But I like strength. I like, I'm really a power lifter, weightlifter at heart. That's my talent. But I'm like, that's nice. But I want to go to California. I want that Hollywood line. That line. That's what I'm looking for. I feel like I could touch more people that way, and I think I did. This heavy training gave me a certain place in life, but there's nothing like going on stage and having 10,000 people go, yeah. And I'm like, you can't take it too egotistical. It's not really me. It's something that's passing through me as an artist. It means where does this energy come? Somebody, some entity, universe, God, whatever, gave me this energy to project to the audience. When the audience picks up on it and they're thrilled and you're thrilled, oh man, life is understood now. Okay, it's just. There was never any. It was just like, okay, that's what I got to do. I understand. Thanks God. Thanks God. And so I was always, I come from a religious background. I was going to be a priest at one time, so my training was very religious, and I believed in approaching life with discipline, extreme meaning, and focus. But I also believed in you should have a life too, like drink some beer, have some girlfriends, and go out and go dancing and, do that stuff too. I was raised with Joe Namath, like go out with a couple of girls and go win a game the next morning, and to a certain extent, I learned that. I mean, you can't just be a hermit. You can't be like living in a cave. Okay. Some guys do, they find significance, but I wanted, I was taught by Arnold, girlfriends and life and live a big full life, I'm like, okay. So I was a shy little kid from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they go, oh, that's how you do it, and then I as time went on, I managed to develop my own personality within the business and off the stage as well, which is an interesting point right there, because when you're guest posing every single weekend, you're getting ready to go or recovering for 15 years, okay? And that's every week, every weekend. And so all my ex-wives were like, man, when do you have time for me? I'm like, oh, come on, this is what I do. This is my life, and I realize now, 50 years later or so, that it must have been hard on ex-wives and ex-girlfriends. Even though I took them sometimes, I'm like, it was about me being the guy, recovering, getting ready to go, packing, training, and I had suitcases always unpacked, ready to go. And it's hard on a person living with you. And I understand that now probably more than ever, because I used to say when you're in the thick of things, I would be like, hey, I'm always right, you're always wrong to my girlfriends. I'm right, you're always wrong. Got it? And now I'm like, I think I had a role in that. I see what they were feeling now. And, I'm 67 years old and look back at my ex-wives and ex-girlfriends going, wow, they had it tough too. Okay, even though that's where Cha comes. Cha's like my savior. I'm like, she's a breath of fresh air. She's my direct link to God. Okay, I mean, sometimes she talks, I'm like, I don't buy it, but then I'm like, okay. She's like, the physical ramification of the higher power, and he speaks to me through her. So certain things she'll say, I'm like, I can't respond yet because it's not the right response. But it's a unique thing. I mean, when I was at a time when I'm like, okay, done with Hollywood, I'm retired, and I don't know what to do next. I had this certain time in my life where I'm like, I had a little heart attack, I guess. They say I did, angioplasty, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do with my life now? And I was like, I don't know, 40 something, and I didn't want the Beverly Hills girl anymore. I didn't want the Arnold would always say, why don't you just Caroline Kennedy's available. How about her, Tom? I'm like, I don't know if I can handle, family, And then he'd say another thing like, how about Nadia Fasci? She's from Italy. She's beautiful, blonde. You like blonde? I'm like, And then Cha came along in my time in my life, and she said, I don't care how much money you make. I think, I don't even know who you are. She didn't know about bodybuilding. And I like that. I like being an unknown human, with a nice girlfriend. And then eventually she got to know what I did and what I used to do. And
so I do hope you have enjoyed this 4th video interview with Tom Platz on his actual steroid cycle and how after 10 years of hard training, he transitioned from a natural to an enhanced bodybuilder. I think it is really important to let that sink in for all recreational lifters out there. Tom took that decision after 10 years of heavy lifting, and it was only after he had already won several titles as a powerlifter and he was already a competitive bodybuilder. And I repeat that again, when he was already a competitive bodybuilder, not a recreational lifter. And I think that there is a very important lesson there to be learned. Tom explains that he had already achieved a 6-plate squat. That's 6 plates on each side. So we are talking 585 on the bar. That's pretty impressive weight for a natural. I doubt that many recreational lifters can achieve that, yet they are already taking twice as much gear. And I personally feel that they are doing themselves more harm in not focusing on getting stronger and bigger naturally, and instead depending on steroids for faster results that will not be maintained in the long run. But that's just my own opinion and of Tom Platz'S. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave your comments, and click the bell button so you are notified of the next video in this series. Anyway, that's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. The Golden Eagle collection is now available at www.goldenerabookworm.com. Select from Upper Body Muscle Mass and Power or Tom's Classic Leg Training Manual, also known as the Bible of Leg Training. All available at www.goldenerabookworm.com. Need a bodybuilding poster for your gym or office? Then check out Iron Man Magazine archive.smugmug.com for the highest quality posters on the planet. Scroll through the galleries of all the legends, including greats such as Arnold, Frank Zane, Sergio Oliva, Serge Nubret, Tom Platz, and Larry Scott, and much, much more, and select your poster now. Online training is now available, including my new program, Novice to Classic, a program geared towards beginners and novices looking at developing a classic physique, as well as Classic Cut, geared at those who wish to lose weight and gain muscle fast. Details available at www.goldenerabookworm.com. As a natural bodybuilder, it is imperative to know your own testosterone levels, as they are a reflection of the anabolic environment created by your diet and training. I would highly recommend using the male hormone test kit from Let's Get Checked, and make sure you use my code GOLDEN30 for a 30% discount. Again, the advantage of checking yourself regularly is that you will know how well your body is anabolically primed to put on the much desired muscle you are working for. Get your gym wear and Golden Era apparel at the new Golden Era Tees shop, featuring designs from the Silver Era and Golden Era legends, available as tanks, shirts, sweatshirts, and hoodies in all sizes and colors. To support your favorite YouTube channel, please visit teespring.com/store/Golden Era Bookworm for merchandise including t-shirts, hoodies, face masks, phone cases, and much, much more. Once again at teespring.com/store/Golden Era Bookworm. Become a patron at www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm for hard to find books, scans of rare photos, and articles on the Golden Era of bodybuilding.
I don't think that Bill Phillips looked at it as, I want to compete against them. I want to destroy them.
If they pass legislation basically making any type of food supplement a prescription item, that would be the end, the death of the entire food supplement industry.
Take your vitamin pill now.
In the 1960s, the sports supplement industry was barely emerging.
I think the reason why Joe Weider was so successful was he had Arnold on his side.
He wasn't selling supplements. He was in the dream business.
Joe Weider was a marketing genius.
People would say the promotions or the endorsements back then were cheesy. To me, it wasn't. I loved it.
Fitness was taking off. You know, fitness became cool. You had a lot of readers that wanted to be like the stars that they idolized.
Bill's strength is his marketing savvy. He's a marketing genius.
Got it. It's only vitamin.
the right of American citizens to have free access to dietary supplements of their choice.
Consult your physician. You might as well consult the next guy you meet on the street. They don't know a damn thing about vitamins and nutrition.
The dietary supplement industry became the #2 most regulated industry. Nuclear, dietary supplements, pharmaceutical. We're more regulated than drugs.
They come in and you need to allow the FDA. They have jurisdiction.
The enforcement is kind of the questionable side of it, and how do they really get a handle on this monster?
A lot of people tell me that the dietary supplement industry is completely unregulated. It's the wild, wild west out there. It's a free-for-all. That could not be further from the truth.
A dietary supplement is not allowed to have a side effect. I always say the pharmaceutical has to have a minimum of 100 side effects in order for it to be a drug.
And now, it's a $40 billion industry and growing.
That's the really interesting thing, is the cast of characters from the 80s, when it was kind of iffy, to now when it's a lot more legitimate.
They made it sound cutting edge, revolutionary, and different, and I want that. That's cool.
We are in this industry to improve our health. It's not just a vanity project here. We're working on our lifeline. We eat a certain way to improve our health. We train a certain way to improve our health. Supplements are just that. They supplement your work, your graft, your nutrition.
They demonize dietary supplements, but they say all you need is real food. Well, what's a real food?
They pump you up and get you hard, stronger, faster, bigger.
Doc, I want to take this weight gain. I want to take this pre-workout. No way. That stuff, we don't know what's in that. It could be, no way. I'm not going to give you, it's going to kill the industry, bottom line.
So I must have drank so much protein powder from age 15 to 18 that my head was going to explode.
I believed in metrics so much that I would probably punch somebody in the face if they tried to take it away from me.